There is nothing better than taking a late lunch to bring you the reaction of the draw of the Champions League and the Europa League, which was drawn earlier on today. I'm Gav Mack, and that's Ed Hall. How are you, pal?
Hello.
Hello. Exciting draw?
The show wasn't exciting as usual, but I'm happy with the games which have come of it.
Well, that's the whole point. That's why we do our show afterwards, to bring that excitement back. Before without any further ado and all that jazzmatazz, you can subscribe to us via our YouTube channel. You can see all our information going on the bottom of the screen. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at 2 Up Top Football. And did you know if you put 2 Up Top into Google, our name comes up first, which is fantastic stuff. Right then, without further ado, let's get into some stuff, hey? Let's get into some stuff. Champions League draw. This is what it looks like. And I'm really excited about this, despite me being a non-participant of this.
What's the standout fixture for you?
I'm just going to get it on the screen for everybody to see. There you go. For me, personally, the standout fixture is Atalanta versus Real Madrid. The full draw is as this: Borussia Mönchengladbach will be playing against Man City, Lazio versus Bayern Munich, Athletico Madrid versus Chelsea, Leipzig versus Liverpool, Porto versus Juventus, Barcelona versus Paris Saint-Germain, Sevilla versus Dortmund, and Atalanta versus Real Madrid. So that is the full draw. The standout for a lot of people would probably be the Barcelona versus PSG game, but I think they're just two teams that are not at the standard that we usually expect.
Will Neymar even feature? We don't know what the extent of his injury is.
Yeah, he looks like he was in a pretty bad way from yesterday's drama. So, and he tends to miss games around that time as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I mean, usually in past seasons gone by, you'd probably go, whoever wins that will probably be one of the favourites for this competition. But neither of them teams are back on winning this Champions League.
Let's go through each fixture, break it down for each one. So just let everyone know that the first legs are scheduled for the 16th and 17th and the 23rd and 24th of February, with the second legs on the 9th and 10th of March, as well as the 16th and 17th of March. The exact match schedule will be later on today, so we'll be able to find out exactly when your team will be featuring in each game. But let's start at the top, and we'll go with Borussia Mönchengladbach versus Man City. Gladbach have had a really good start to the Bundesliga season, and they came through a very, very tough group.
Yeah, they did. Them alongside Shakhtar Donetsk was expected to drop out of the group stages. This is the first time, I believe, they've got to the last 16 of the modern edition of the European football, which is the Champions League. I mean, pat on the back for them. And Manchester City are not the Manchester City of old. So if they stick to the philosophy they're trying to dish out this year, they could get a result against Manchester City. It's not the toughest, but it's not the easiest either. Man City will still be favourites.
Why do Man City change their mentality as soon as they go into a knockout stage of a Champions League?
I don't think they have a strong mentality in the group stage. I don't think they rarely have a tough group. I honestly don't. They always have maybe one team who's near their level, and then and Manchester City will then get an easy fixture in the last of 16. I think last year was the first year they didn't, because they got Real Madrid. Yeah, but then they won't get past the quarterfinals. I expect the same to happen this year.
Yeah, it's I don't know what goes on with them. If their style of play, if they translated that from the Premier League into the Champions League, I would fancy themselves, because they always are ranked as favourite or second favourite in the Champions League every single year, but they never perform, and I don't know why.
They were the best. Though, was when they got knocked out by Tottenham in that 4-3, 5-4, whatever it was in aggregate. Manchester City were the best team in the world then, and that was their biggest opportunity. They're not now.
Yeah. So, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with them going forwards. The next game we'll talk about is Lazio versus Bayern Munich. Now, Bayern Munich, they were unbeaten in the group stage. They were unbeaten. In fact, the last game that they lost in the Champions League was against Liverpool.
Yeah.
And that was
They lost
in
3-1 at the Allianz.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll be licking their lips at this fixture. No disrespect to Lazio. I like Lazio. I'm a fan of Immobile.
Mm-hmm.
They had a great season last year, finishing third in a 2-horse race, though, unfortunately. How Inter Milan got second, I don't know. They don't look as strong this year. They're having a more difficult season domestically. They've done well to finish second in the group, but their biggest competition was Club Brugge because they was in a group with Dortmund.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't expect Lazio to win either of these games. Maybe get a draw in the home fixture, but Bayern will go through.
Yeah, Bayern are cruising, and I'm sure they'll be fine. I have a feeling that they're gonna go back to back in the tournament this year. I really do. Right then, who we got next? Atletico Madrid versus Chelsea, the Diego Costa derby.
Trying to think if there was any others. Sorry. Morata's left, hasn't he? So no.
Yeah, Morata's left. Of current players, it's only these two now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But Chelsea, they have had a great start to the Premier League season. Atletico Madrid lost their first game of the season this week in the Madrid derby, and other than that, they've looked pretty strong. They conceded 2 goals in that game, and that equals the amount of goals they conceded in the rest of La Liga so far this season. So defensively, always looking strong. Attack-wise, have they got enough? We know what players that they've got. We know they've got João Felix. We know they've got Luis Suarez. But have they truly got enough going forwards to make a real stake on winning the Champions League?
I don't think they've got a stake on winning the Champions League, but they suit cup competitions. I mean, they knocked out, at the time, Liverpool were the champions. They knocked them out in the round of 16 last year. They're difficult to break down. Simeone loves the Champions League. He's took him to 2 finals. João Felix is finding his feet. Luis Suarez is finding his way out. That might be a good mix of experience and youth. I think Atletico will be the favourites here. Chelsea will do well to go through against a hard-drilled Atletico side who have done this year after year after year. This Chelsea side look like this would probably be a more suitable fixture next year. I think Atletico will go through this year because Chelsea are still finding their feet. And the Everton game proved that to me, that they're still getting there.
Yeah, I think they need a little bit more going forwards as well. I don't think they've really decided on what their best front four is, so to speak. They've still had injury issues there. Ziyech is out again. Pulisic is having issues, keeping fit at all times. Yeah. They're relying a lot on Oliver Giroud, who is meant to be a washed-up striker, but seems to know exactly where the back of the net is. It's going to be an interesting game. I think they're going to have to rely on someone like Ollie G to start whipping crosses in and things like that. Because I don't think they'll be able to play through Atletico Madrid.
And I think that's it. Because they won't be able to play through them, and that is the focus of their game, isn't it? But the fixture's out till February, so perhaps Timo Werner can really find some form when that game comes up.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a long way till we get there.
Big game for me is Leipzig versus Liverpool, and I think a lot of eyes will be on this game. I've seen a lot on social media that Liverpool fans are quite happy with this draw and think that is the easier of the teams that were available to play. I don't think so. I really don't.
I think that RB Leipzig. I would have much preferred RB Leipzig to an Atletico Madrid because Atletico Madrid don't let us play. But RB Leipzig have their own philosophy. They'll attack Liverpool, and that will suit us. I think it'll be a 50-50 game. In truth, I think we have the better individuals, but they have a good team philosophy. I think we'll go through. I do, but I wouldn't be gobsmacked if they knocked us out.
Yeah, Leipzig got 100% record at home this season. The only team in Europe of the major leagues in particular that have got that record. They're not really laden with superstars, and I think that's what you're alluding to before about the team ethic. They haven't got a decent out and out striker. They had Patrick Schick, who was on loan from Roma, who is now gone to Leverkusen, by Leverkusen. That's where he's playing his trade now. They've gone out and picked up Sorloth, who is not a top class striker for me. Yeah. And when they play a man through the middle, they use Yusuf Poulsen quite a bit as well, which I do like Poulsen, but he's not an out and out striker. He's one of those players that is a scorer of great goals, but not a great goal scorer.
Yeah.
So they do rely a lot on players like Olmo and Kunku. Even Angelino is chipping in with goals. I think he's got 6 goals already this season in all competitions. They need to continue with their team ethic in order to make it happen. It's like their front three is very much in a similar sort of mold as the midfield at Liverpool. No superstars as such, apart from Thiago at Liverpool, but it's very industrious. It's very hard working, and I think that's what they've got up front. And you've got that in midfield, so it's going to be a very interesting battle to see how their front three will get through your midfield and then have a go at your defence.
Yeah, I agree. I think if the game was to happen next week, I'd be very worried about this fixture. But with February, we could have some players come back. We could even tuck into the January transfer market, get ourselves another centre-back. And then the likes of players like Thiago will hopefully be in the mould. And I think that's the type of player we need to break down teams. So I think Liverpool are favourites, but Leipzig is not an easy fixture.
Not at all. Porto versus Juventus.
Honestly, I couldn't care less about this fixture. I'll be honest with you. I won't watch it. I'll watch the highlights. Cristiano Ronaldo will drag Juventus over the line. Morata's in better form, so perhaps he might put a shift in. Porto have no chance against the Cristiano Ronaldo-inspired Juventus. He loves the Champions League. There is no way that Porto get through this fixture.
No, I can't see Porto getting through it, but it is cup competition. It's over 2 legs.
But that's why if it was one game, Porto could, but it's over 2.
Yeah. Juventus, they don't look like the Juventus that we expect, but they are still able to. They're a team this year that are going out and grinding results rather than going out and slapping teams. And they had a tough group. Well, I say a tough group. It wasn't the toughest group, but they had Barcelona to contend with. And it was so difficult, the fact that it came down to that game, Barcelona versus Juventus on match day 6. And if it, whoever won that was going to go on and become top seeds, because with that in mind, Barcelona are now 2nd seed of that group and will now have to face Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, exactly. That's a cracking game. A cracking fixture. It's a cracking fixture. Are we moving on to that game next?
Yeah. Nice little segue.
Yeah, I know. I was proud of you. Paris Saint-Germain versus Barcelona, a fixture you'd be well excited for 3 years ago. You'll still want to watch it now because of the individuals on the pitch, but they're both not that good. I'm telling you, like, a lot of people still rate them a lot high. They rate them a lot more highly than I do. I didn't rate PSG last year, despite the fact they got to the final. They only got to the final because it was a one-legged affair. They would not have made it there if it was over 2 legs. Barcelona have no identity. They either play with Messi and it's just a one-man team, or they take Messi out and they're clueless. Sure, Griezmann can put in some good performances against bottom-tier La Liga sides, but in the Champions League, they're absolutely rubbish. They need to get rid of Messi, go through transition. Because of the Neymar injury, I don't think PSG will go through. I think Barcelona will. I think whoever loses that game will lose one of their biggest superstars, whether that be Messi or Mbappe.
Interesting. I've got a feeling that both of those are going to be playing their last season at their respective clubs. Mbappe, for me, is a shoo-in at Real Madrid. It suits. I think it's going to suit both parties. It suits both styles. Neymar, I can't see him going anywhere at the moment. I think he'd rather stay there and be big fish. But if Messi moves on, I can see him going back to Barcelona and wanting to be the big fish at Barca.
What's the extent of the Neymar injury? Sorry,
it doesn't look great at the moment. It looks like probably a slight fracture on the ankle. It wasn't a very nice tackle, to be honest. The way he went down, would assume that is play acting a little bit, but no, he's actually in quite a bad way. So I reckon that's his season finished. Yes, I reckon he will. He normally misses fixtures around that time anyway. Won't go into that on this show. But the next game that we'll talk about, the penultimate fixture of this draw, is Sevilla versus Borussia Dortmund. Ed's just popped off. He'll be back in a couple of moments. But Sevilla, it's not like them to be playing at this stage in the top tier European competition. They're normally knocking around in the Europa League by now, and more than likely going on and win it. But Dortmund, they're going through a transition at the moment. They've just sacked Lucien Favre, and it's the assistant manager who's decided to take over the reins until the end of the season. They've got good players, Dortmund, but they're not gelling. And in the league, their league position is really deceiving of how they're actually performing. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games at home, and it was almost a given that they were going to lose their manager at that point.
Yeah, sorry, I lost a bit of connection there. We're on about Borussia Dortmund.
Yes, Dortmund, yeah.
Dortmund, I tell you what, Dortmund pre-Haaland was praised beyond belief, and rightly so. They had Sancho performing. Do you remember they was wearing that all black kit to celebrate? What was it, like X amount of years, 125 years of Dortmund? Yeah. It was a lush kit, and they were really good. They signed Haaland, another young world beater. They improved tenfold, but they've become dependent on Haaland. They've lost the identity they had before. Because if Haaland wasn't there when they was challenging Bayern Munich for the title. And then they strengthened. The fact that they're nothing similar to that side they was before.
No,
I've noticed this common theme with clubs, man. It's all about the player, and team philosophy seems to vanish.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that a club of such high regard are so heavily reliant on a 20-year-old. They look completely lost when he's not playing, and the fact that they're doing that is quite embarrassing, frankly. And also, I can't see Haaland being there at the end of this season anyway. So they're going to have to do something. But once again, they're pinning their hopes on kids. But Bellingham, 17, Moukoko, they've rushed him through. He's only just turned 16 last month. Gio Reyna, he scored a lovely goal at the weekend, but he's also only 17. And the old players just seem to be really complacent about it all. It's ridiculous. But Sevilla should be licking their lips at this fixture. Once again, as you've alluded to already, Ed, if they're playing this fixture now, then it's a given as far as I'm concerned that Sevilla go through. But Sevilla they're very organised. They know exactly what they're doing. They play 4-4-2 quite a lot. Sometimes they play 4-2-3-1. Yeah. They all communicate with each other. They know each other's game. They know exactly what their expectations are of each other. I can't see how Dortmund get past this.
I completely agree, but I expect Haaland to be back. So I would put my money on Dortmund because, let's be honest, Sevilla haven't looked the greatest of sides since winning the Europa League. Yeah. They've not. I mean, they work for each other. They're a good, solid team, but they look like they're at the end of a cycle. If I was going to put money on it, I'd say Borussia Dortmund, but I don't see Dortmund getting much further.
Fair. And my tie of the fixture, which is the last fixture we're going to be talking about on this section, is Atalanta versus Real Madrid. And I'm really looking forward to this game because Atletico Madrid, they don't have Atalanta, they don't have a formation. They turn up and they are so fluid. It's so easy to watch on the eye. It's almost like they're revolutionising football at the moment. And a team like that with a Real Madrid side who, don't get me wrong, are third in the title race in Spain, they don't look quite right at the moment.
They don't, but I'd still back Real Madrid because I watched Atalanta a lot during the group I was in with Liverpool and Ajax. Defensively, bar the last game, they are defensively shaky. They have dropped in form considerably since the last Champions League run, where they knocked out. Was it Manchester City?
Who?
No. Well, that was the year before, wasn't it?
Atalanta.
Atalanta get knocked out by Lazio.
They got knocked out by PSG last minute. They'll 1-0 up with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, okay, but that sums it up. Atalanta, even domestically, they're not performing that well. Real Madrid they've won in the derby. Real Madrid will probably still win the Liga this year. I mean, for all the criticism I'll give to them, they'll probably still win the Liga. Real Madrid will go through. Real Madrid will not get to the semis, though. That's my prediction.
No problem at all. So once again, let's lob those fixtures back on the screen. Gladbach versus Man City, Lazio versus Bayern, Atletico Madrid versus Chelsea, Leipzig versus Liverpool, Porto versus Juve, Barcelona versus PSG, Sevilla versus Dortmund, and Atalanta versus Real Madrid, and all those games will be played in February. So there'll be 2 rounds of fixtures for that. So the games will be played on the 16th and 17th, and the 23rd and 24th of February, and then the return legs. Oh, excuse me, I was trying to hold that for ages. The return legs will be on the 9th and 10th and the 16th and 17th of March. Right then, so that was the premium competition in Europe. Now let's have a look at, let's be honest, it's the secondary tournament. Always try and take the mick and say that it's going to be the other way around, but it's not the case at all, is it? Right then, let's have a look at these.
Should we just cover the British sides for this one?
Yeah,
because 32 teams.
There's a standout
fixture.
There's some standouts. So let's have a look. So the fixtures are Wolfsberger of Austria, not the shirt that I'm wearing. They've got Tottenham. Dynamo Kiev have got Club Brugge. Real Sociedad have Manchester United. Benfica have Arsenal. Crvena Zvezda or Red Star Belgrade, depending on where you're from, have got AC Milan. Antwerp versus Rangers. Slavia Prague versus Leicester. Salzburg versus Villarreal. Braga versus Roma. Krasnodar versus Dynamo Zagreb. Young Boys Bern versus Leverkusen. Molde versus Hoffenheim. Granada versus Napoli. Maccabi Tel Aviv versus Shakhtar Donetsk. Lille versus Ajax. And Olympiacos have got PSV Eindhoven. Now, those fixtures are going to be played on the 18th of February, with the second legs on the 25th of February. And of course, they are Thursday nights. And the draw for the last 16 will be on the 26th of February. The only caveat to that game is that on the following Wednesday, on the Wednesday fixture, let's spit it out, Gav. On the Thursday, the 25th, all the fixtures will be played apart from the Tottenham game, which will be played on the Wednesday because of 2 clubs from the same area playing at the same time. They're changing that. So let's start with Tottenham. Easy draw for me against Wolfsberger, who have never qualified for a latter stage of a tournament. The capacity stadium only holds 7,000 and they only have 25,000 population in that area. So it's pretty much a given for Spurs.
I think Tottenham are the favourites for this competition.
You think?
I do, because I think you've got Harry Kane, who's probably the best player in the whole competition. Mm-hmm. He's a Champions League player, purely. So, excuse me. Jose Mourinho would love to win this trophy.
Mm-hmm.
He did the same thing with Manchester United.
He did it with Porto.
A treble. He did it with Porto. Jose Mourinho will look to win one of Tottenham's first trophies this year since 2008. They've got the best side, in my opinion, and that defensive unit just suits this competition. Wolfsburg, bless them, have no chance, to put it bluntly.
No, they really don't. Manchester United, they will play their first game away to Real Sociedad, who are having not bad a season at all so far.
Well, they were tipped to be La Liga winners after about 3 games, which was mind-blowing to me. But
it's the David Silva effect. That's what it is.
Well, it is the David Silva effect. So, we can make it all about him. Real Sociedad will probably favour themselves with the Manchester United we've got today, where you don't quite know what you're going to get from them. But Manchester United on their day can beat the very top teams. So yes. I'd back Manchester United. Real Sociedad looks like the magic might be wearing off a bit. They've been dropping some points domestically.
Hmm.
They'll care more about La Liga this year than they will Europa.
Yeah.
Manchester United might need it.
Yeah, I agree. One team that definitely will need Europa League to try and get into some form of European competition is Arsenal, and they've got Benfica, which is probably the toughest draw that they could have got.
That's a tough game. Benfica had a draw with Rangers, and I think one game was 2-2, one game was 3-3.
Yeah.
Benfica have a problem where they can start games poorly, which gives other teams a foothold, but they do recover very well.
Yeah.
Arsenal are a team who play very poorly and don't recover at all at the moment.
Domestically, yeah.
Domestically. Yeah. So if you want to play an open, expansive game like you have been on a Thursday night, you're absolutely fine. That would suit Benfica. But what do you need to prioritise? Europa League or Premier League?
I think coming top 10 for Arsenal would be the highest priority at this current moment in time. I do worry for Arsenal and Arsenal fans in this game, because Benfica you shouldn't sleep on Benfica. I don't rate the Portuguese league very highly, if I'm honest, but they do have 3 clubs in that league which always do something to rock the apple cart, and that's Porto, Benfica, and Sporting. So Arsenal need to be
Burnley. Never mind Benfica.
Well, there you go.
Won a European Cup once upon a time.
Yes, they did. With the King of Eusebio, who was an absolute player in his day. Rangers, I think they'll fancy this, but you don't think so. Rangers versus Antwerp.
I've watched a ton of Rangers this year. I think you've gone on my ends.
Oh, can you hear me?
No. Yes, I can hear you now.
There you are. Yeah. So, what? Yeah, I think Rangers have got a really easy draw here, but you don't think as much.
No, I don't. I've been following Rangers a lot this year. I think they've been fantastic domestically. I think they've been hard as nails in the Europa League group. I think they did fantastic to finish top of their group. They've showed some real progression under Steven Gerrard. They should be dead proud of themselves. The things with Antwerp is I really like how they play football. I watched them against Tottenham Hotspur. It's very positive, very fast. And when I watched Rangers versus Benfica, they struggle against pacey teams. And Antwerp are exactly that. I think Rangers will be favourites. They've got grit this year. But Antwerp are no joke, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to think to hear what Rangers fans think about this fixture. It's really because of that. You know, I look at Rangers this year and I think, you know, I fancy you quite a bit here. They're playing some great football, you know, and they don't really have any fear. And they've also found a way of grinding out results. There's games that they played last season where they would have drawn or lost, and this time round they're finding a way to win. And people, including myself, will slate the SPL of not being the greatest football league out there. However, you can only beat what's in front of you, and if you don't start off well and you need to react, then they've done that this year. You know, Tavernier has been a revelation at right back.
Did you see his free kick against?
What a free kick! Yeah, what a free kick that is. What a free kick. They've got players like Ryan Kent, who came through the ranks of Liverpool, I believe.
Yeah, he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, he's a fantastic player as well. So I'm really optimistic for Rangers this year. I think they'll do all right.
They'll win the league anyway. They'll win the Scottish League this year.
Yeah, they should do. That should be done and dusted by March. Another British club, and the final British club that we'll talk about is Leicester. Leicester, they are away to Slavia Prague. I like to call them the second team of Prague behind Sparta. This should be a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. Leicester have no. I'm joking. Leicester, I keep forgetting that they're in the Europa League. Like, even when I'm watching the games on Thursday, I'll notice on BT it says Leicester are playing. I'm like, I completely forget them.
Yeah, I do as well. They're just slipping under the radar. So with that in mind, do you think that they can do that and go on really deep into the competition?
I've seen them struggle against sides I think they should pepper, though. And I think that's because Leicester's football suits top teams. Like, if Leicester go up against a Benfica, or that was just the first one to come to mind who were going to get at them, I think they'd easily put Benfica to the sword because the likes of Mason and Jamie Vardy on the counter attack suits them. But when they've got to dominate the ball and have most of the possession, they're not as threatening. It's very similar to United. So on paper, I'd say lesser, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have at least a scare in one of the games.
No, I agree. I can see Leicester going relatively deep. Just talk about a couple of other teams, in particular from a German perspective, because I love my Bundesliga football, as everyone knows. Leverkusen, Hoffenheim, both of those two teams are knocking around in this stage of the Europa League. Leverkusen are currently top of the Bundesliga at the moment after their win at the weekend against Hoffenheim, and they have got Young Boys Bern, and Young Boys, they always seem to knock around this area, but they don't really go that far. Leverkusen squad depth there, it's actually looking okay at the moment, so I'm thinking that they might do all right.
I completely agree with you. Sorry, I just got distracted by that comment. Hello.
Hello. Hi. And Hoffenheim, they're having a very indifferent season, actually. They've only won one of their last 8 games in the Bundesliga. They picked up a win, not the weekend, gone the weekend before. And they've got Mulder, who are in Arsenal's group. This is the competition that they seem to be prioritising. They're one of the top scorers of the group stage, and they've looked really good in the Europa League so far. So, do you think that they'll be focusing more on their form in the Europa League, or will they be looking to do something better in the league?
Europa League, it's an absolute moneymaker, just not to the very top clubs. So, I've actually grown to respect the Europa League a lot more in recent years. But only when we get to the latter stages, I think they'll prioritise the Europa League.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. So what we're going to do, just going to run through the fixtures all over again so everybody can see them. There are other teams in there, but we're a British show and we like German football, so we concentrate a lot more on those teams that are knocking around in there. So let's run through it all. Oh, just lost it. Let's go back into the fixtures so everybody can see them. There we go. Wolfsberger of Austria, not Wolfsburg of Germany. They have Tottenham, Dynamo Kiev versus Club Brugge, Real Sociedad versus Manchester United, Benfica versus Arsenal, Red Star Belgrade / Crvena Zvezda, depending where you're from. I've got AC Milan, Antwerp versus Rangers, Slavia Prague versus Leicester, RB Salzburg versus Villarreal, Braga versus Roma, Krasnodar versus Dynamo Zagreb, Young Boys Bern versus Leverkusen, Mulder versus Hoffenheim, Granada versus Napoli, Maccabi Tel Aviv versus Shakhtar Donetsk, Lille versus Ajax, and Olympiacos versus PSV Eindhoven. And all those games will be played on the 18th of February and the 25th of February, excluding the Tottenham home game against Wolfsburg, which we played on Wednesday, the 25th. So that's it, really. That's all we've got.
Before we go, who is your predictions? Who's going to win the Champions League and who's going to win the Europa League?
Who's going to win the Champions League? The Champions League, I can't see past Bayern.
Yeah, I agree.
I really can't. And I've just got this really weird feeling that the winner of the Europa League is going to be Man United.
Really?
Yes. I don't know what it is. There's just something telling me that Man United are going to go on and win the Europa League.
If they do, it won't be under Solskjaer. I generally think that if Jose Mourinho is going to win this, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tottenham and Manchester United faced each other in a semi-final.
Yeah. If they do, then Spurs will win that game. Exactly. They will. Before we go, there's a little comment there from the brightest devoted fly on YouTube. You can follow us on YouTube as well. So please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. Are you excited for Barca versus PSG? If it's 6-1 for PSG, I don't think it's going to be as deep as that. But if I'm honest, I'm not excited as I want to be. The two teams, we mentioned it earlier on. The two teams are prestigious. However, they are not the same PSG and Barca that we saw 2-3 years ago.
Yeah. it's more of a sad affair to watch it because you're looking at two former giants of this competition. Not to say that they're still not giants, but you would be more excited by this fixture 4 years ago.
Yeah, they're two of the biggest teams in Europe, without a doubt. But it's just not happening. And the Juve Porto game, we're not overly excited about that one either. If I'm honest,
what's going to happen. It's going to be a Ronaldo ball fest.
Yeah, we see that being a very comfortable Juve progression into the last date for that one, personally. But you can subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done already, which would be wonderful if you could. You could also follow us or like our Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at Top Football on all social media. And did you know if you put Top into Google, our name comes up first?
I didn't know that, Gav.
Oh, well, there you go. Now you do. But for myself, Gav Mack and Ed Hall, thank you and good night. Good night? Goodbye.
Good night.
Southgate out.
Well, if you're cotton.